let me just give you a broad overview of there are 5 tools on the OSR4Tools site. So we've got FaceSearch, which basically, if you've got a massive data set of, let's say you've got a few thousand images and you want to find a person of interest in those images, it might be for prosecutors of international crimes, they're looking for a particular perpetrator, or for victims or human rights groups, they're looking for someone within that to identify, is the same person in various images. So that's what FaceSearch does. We've got FireMap, which basically is what it says on the tin. It shows data, it provides data on patterns of the spread of fire in particular geographic locations that can be selected by the user. We've got speech parts, which if you've got a video or a piece of audio and you want to just take out the bit of human speech, then it just extracts that as a separate file. So that's really useful in this context. Often people want just to hear what's been said and they don't want to have to watch often what's quite a traumatic video over and over again. Hate speech, which detects hate speech in a large data set. So again, if you've got a few thousand tweets, for example, and you want to determine whether there's a pattern of hateful or toxic speech, it does that. And then I think the standout success of all of the tools has to be the auto archiver. So that's the one that's really taken off and has had lots of users and it's saved a lot of people a lot of time. One issue is a big problem with using this kind of information in this space is what we call takedowns. So we might see something on Twitter today and think, oh my gosh, that's really relevant to an ongoing investigation into war crimes in a particular region, but there's no guarantee it will still be there tomorrow. The user might take it down, the platform might take it down, the platform might cease to exist. There are all sorts of reasons why it can be taken down. And the other thing is from a legal point of view, in the old days where you have a physical piece of evidence, a gun, let's say, someone comes along and puts it in a sealed bag and then it's preserved, no one touches it. And we have what's known as the chain of custody. It's very important in evidence law. So we're thinking about, with a piece of content like this, how can we recreate that chain of custody information? So the way we do that effectively is with a hash. So we hash the piece of content and then it can show that it hasn't been manipulated since the time that it was preserved. So that's it in a nutshell. Basically, it preserves the piece of content, all of the relevant information, and years later, because often any cases that come up are often years, if not decades later, all that information is kept safe and can be just presented to a court.
That's brilliant. And the steps to do that, are there many steps involved? Is it straightforward for people to use? Someone who's completely useless with technology, would it be easy for them to get the hang of?
Well, I'd say that's a good question. Can I jump in here? In fact, it's one of the problems we're also solving is just the sheer amount of information. So in fact, anybody can go to say Twitter and sort of copy and paste the information, and screenshot it, and then right click and save the image and put it somewhere safe. And that is essentially what we're doing. But if you've got many thousands of links that you have to archive, that's one person all day, every day. That's all they're doing. And mistakes happen, and it's an incredibly laborious job. So that is essentially how this tool has been born.